easier than carving it. But if you prefer to use a knife, you could gladly use a knife. That will work too. I find it easier to peel it. It just comes off like more effortlessly for me. Um, and you should have received some leaves, some artificial leaves in your kit that we're going to either incorporate it to stand up into our vase, or like I did at the bottom, I just wanted to block a little bit more of the styrofoam. So I put some leaves at the bottom and I actually glue gunned it on the sides. So you could do that if you would like.
Sorry
Yeah.
sorry to interrupt. Can you
Sure.
switch the camera? Because like we see your side instead of it looks like you're talking to the other camera.
Oh, sure. So I'm actually in two videos.
Right.
One video shows me more my face, and the other video shows the fruit.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know.
Okay,
You can
thank
figure
you.
out whichever one's easier for you.
I don't know. Okay, we'll find out. Thank you.
Sure. As long as you're able to see, I'll try to, make sure to hold everything up that you're able to see it as I go along. If you have any questions, you could ask or raise your hand so I could see. And I'm so excited to get started.
Sorry, can I just ask one question?
Sure.
Is the chocolate dairy?
Yes.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and I'm not sure how everyone wants to melt their chocolate, but there are a few options. So one of the options, so actually we're going to start now that we went over the supply list, and the additions you'll need is a scissor, a sharp knife. You might want to use a glue gun, not necessary. So those are the additions, and we're going to start off making the chocolate bark or the chocolate lollipops, however you choose to do it. So if you don't have a double boiler in your home and want to learn how to do it over a stovetop, I will tell you how to do it, but there's even an easier way, which is to do it in the microwave in a glass cup. So if everyone has a glass or a Pyrex cup in their house that they choose, and a microwave handy, this is the easiest and quickest way to melt chocolate. The other way to do it over the fire, if you don't have a double boiler, is you take one foil pan, you fill it with water, you let that heat up till it like bubbles. Once the water is hot, you're going to take another pan and put the chocolate in that pan. The second pan should probably be a little smaller than the first pan, and you're going to put your chocolate in that pan and let it melt over the boiling water. And once the water is boiled, you can actually shut the fire till the water cools off, because it will melt your chocolate pretty quickly, you'll see, and you could keep stirring it. But the quickest way to melt it is in the microwave. So you could choose your preference. When I'm making a lot of chocolate arrangements at once or lollipops, I take like a 9x13 aluminum pan, a disposable one. I fill it with water, about like 1/4 of an inch to halfway up with water. Then I take a smaller pan and place the chocolate in it, broken up, and I let it melt on top of the hot water. And it never burns because the water protects it from burning. So that's the trick to do it over the fire if you're making a large amount. But for this purpose, I would suggest you use your microwave if you have one. So
how much chocolate should we melt for right now?
Yeah, so we're going to have to start off melting. We're going to start off, I'm going to tell you what to do and when to melt it. But first, I want to make sure everyone has a pan of some sort, or a flat plate or glass plate, and parchment paper. If you don't have parchment paper, you can use wax paper or even a piece of aluminum foil. So if everyone could get either a foil pan or a plate with a piece of, covered with a piece of either parchment paper is the best, but you can use foil as well, or wax paper to cover your pan. And this is what we're going to use to make our chocolate lollies and our chocolate. We're going to melt this is what we're going to use to place the melted chocolate on. we're gonna place this in the freezer, whatever you choose, a plate or a pan. We're gonna, after we make our melted lollies, we're gonna place it in the freezer on this. So I guess if everyone could start off by getting a ceramic plate, a glass plate, or a foil pan, and a piece of parchment paper preferably. And we're gonna start off by preparing that because we're gonna need this for our melted chocolate. We're gonna start off with, we're gonna
Okay,
start off.
while you're all going to do that and getting your chocolates ready, I just want to make sure that everybody heard what I said in the beginning to pin Miriam so that you can see her. So there's two video options that you can click for Miriam. She's on 2 screens, so you can click either one, whichever one you feel most comfortable with. Okay. In order to pin her, you just hover over her photo, her video image, and then there's 3 little dots. You click the 3 little dots, and then it asks you a few things. You could pin it. The third one is to pin. You could pin her. Okay.
Which is better, the side view or the front view?
Whichever one you feel most comfortable with. Look, you can check them both out and see which one you like best. Okay. So the bigger view, the wider view is more of her hands, and you'll see what she's doing. Okay.
I think this view, where you could see the fruit arrangement and the watermelon, would be more beneficial for tutorial purposes, to be able to see what I'm doing. And this view is for more like to see my face. So I would suggest making this one bigger if you want to see my table in front of me.
Yeah. So if you choose the wider lens. Okay. Everybody have their chocolate all ready? Thumbs up.
Okay, great. So we're going to start off with, everyone should have a bar of chocolate. You're going to start off breaking up your chocolate into pieces. You could break them into squares, or if you could break it further into triangles, that's fine. But however, I guess the smaller, the better, but it will melt regardless. So you don't have to worry about breaking it up too small. So start off by breaking up your chocolate into squares, and you could further break it into, I use chocolate chips. You could further break it up into like triangles by breaking the square in half, and you could place it into your glass or ceramic cup.
Is it better to use a bar of chocolate or chocolate chips, and how much?
So I use chocolate chips because that was easier for me to melt. But you could use either. If you know, either one is fine, both melt.
And how much should we use?
So you
bag?
your cup like halfway. You probably want to fill your cup halfway or a little less than half with the chocolate.
Thank you.
Sure. You want to fill your cup with the broken up chocolate probably about halfway.
Does a bowl work just as well, or should it be a cup?
Yeah, a bowl is perfectly fine, you know, as long as it's a microwave safe bowl.
Are we using all of the chocolate or not all of the chocolate? Because it depends on the size of the bowl.
Right, that's a good point. So I think you could, if it's 1 bar of chocolate, I think you might want to use all of it, because yeah, it's 1 bar. Yeah, won't get you too far. I think you'll be able to use all of it. Yeah.
And if you're using chocolate chips, how much you use?
If you're using chocolate chips and you're using a cup, I would say like a half a cup. You could keep more in hand in case you want to melt more. If you want to make more circles, you could always melt more. Whoever's ready to melt, I'll tell you the next step after you break up your chocolate if you want to know. In the meantime, in the interim, the next step would be to take a teaspoon of oil. I use canola oil. Thanks. I use canola oil, so you could take a teaspoon of oil or half a teaspoon of oil and just pour it on top of your chocolate. This will just help make it smoother when you melt it. But you don't need to do that. I just like the consistency a little better, but you could definitely melt it just you could definitely melt just the chocolate. The oil is just my personal preference. I find that it makes the chocolate smoother. Okay, so if anyone's ready to start melting it, I would love to tell them, what to do with the microwave settings.
Some of the women already finished melting, right? I saw Mandy was done, right? Mandy, are you finished?
So let me tell you, so the microwave, you should be melting it for 20-second intervals. So it should be, I don't know, sometimes you might have to melt it in over a minute, but do it in 20-second intervals. So you're gonna turn the microwave on for 20 seconds, mix your chocolate, take it out, mix it, and put it back in for 20 seconds. If you see that it's still clumpy, mix it again. You can put it back for an additional 20 seconds till you like the consistency, till it's smooth. When you lift up the chocolate, it should be dripping. It should be dripping.
Should the oil be in there before you put it in the microwave? Like you add the oil in, or you add the oil at the end?
Well, I think you could add it. You could add it before, but I usually add it afterward.
Thanks.
Rosalie is saying on the chat that she actually has a melt chocolate feature on her microwave, which is pretty cool, actually.
That's
I
great.
didn't know that.
Okay. Just knock off the
Okay, if someone's ready, if their chocolates are ready, should they continue on or should we wait?
I guess if there's a couple of people that are ready, I could show them what to do next. Or if everyone's watching the screen, I can show
Just to wait
everyone.
one more minute.
I'm still like heating.
No problem. So in the meantime, I want everyone to make sure they have their nuts on hand. Once you have your sharp knives out, if you want to chop your nuts up a little smaller, you could. If you want to keep them how they came, your dried fruit, you could keep it as is. But feel free to chop it a little smaller if you wish to do so, because we're going to be using that with the melted chocolate. So once it takes pretty quick in the microwave, but it also hardens pretty quick. So once your chocolate's ready, you just want to keep mixing it. You just want to mix it every few moments. And I guess if everyone could show a thumbs up when their chocolate is all melted and they're ready to start the next step. So now we see how easy it is to melt chocolate. The reason why we do it in 20-second intervals in the microwave is because we don't want to burn the chocolate. We put it in for a minute or two at a time straight, it might just, brown. It might just get charcoaly and harden and you won't be able to use it. So we want to be able to keep it smooth and able to work with like this. Everyone can see my chocolate's pouring down very easily, almost like a liquid drink. Okay, so the next step, you could show a thumbs up if your chocolate's already melted, and I could show you, and I'll know if I should start the next step. Okay, great.
Matt, I'm having a hard time seeing you on the video. I think the video is, if you could face where you're facing now.
So Aliza, you came in a little bit late, so you didn't hear, but there's actually two videos of her, so you can choose either one. There's one that's of wider lens, and one is just really to hear her. It's her sound, and it's just more clear with the sound than that one. So you can choose a different, there's two Miriam Lenefskys. Choose the other one if you can't see her well.
Thank
Okay?
you.
No
Okay, great.
problem.
Once your chocolate is melted, this is the next step. So does everyone have their plate with their parchment paper? Thumbs up if you have something to put your chocolate on prepared. A plate of some sort with parchment paper or wax paper, or it could be a foil pan or anything of your choice that's a flat surface. You just want anything flat. Okay, so right now, I'm going to teach you what to do with your melted chocolate. So I'm going to start off by I'm holding a teaspoon right now. So you could hold a spoon of any size. You could use a tablespoon or a teaspoon. And you're going to take your spoon and drop it gently onto your plate with the parchment paper. till you form like a 3 to 4 inch circle. So I'm gonna need 2 spoons for that because my circle is fairly small. And I actually did 1.5 teaspoons. So once you have your chocolate on your parchment paper, you're going to take your spoon and spread it in a circular motion very gently from the center outward, and just creating about a 2.5 to 3 inch circle. Don't worry if it's, don't worry if it's too flat. It will still harden and you should still be able to take it off your tray.
The nuts
once
should be
you
there
freeze it.
first? Sorry, did you put the nuts down first? I wasn't by my screen.
Oh no, so
Oh.
once we have our melted chocolate and
Yeah.
it's thin, pourable, I took a teaspoon or a teaspoon and a half. You don't even have to measure, as long as it forms like a 2 to 3 inch circle, and you're gonna gently drop it onto you literally just have to drop it. And if you want to add more chocolate, add from the center. Add some more chocolate to the center. And I'm going to spread out my circle from the center outward. From the center outward, I'm just, in a circular motion, spreading it around till I have a 2 to 3 inch circle of chocolate. If anyone has any questions, let me know. You can unmute yourself to ask a question. And we're going to continue doing this throughout the parchment paper. You could leave like about an inch or an inch and a half space between the chocolate. You just don't want it to, and also you want to make sure you have a flat, we're going to be freezing this after we put the nuts on and the dried fruit. So you want to make sure you have a flat surface in your freezer. If your freezer is too packed, you might want to just remove something from it for 5 minutes, just to be able to put your chocolate in a flat surface, in a flat area in your freezer. You want to make room to put this flat. You don't want it on an angle in the freezer because then your chocolate's going to be frozen, sideways. You just want to.
So Miriam,
Yeah.
if someone's allergic to nuts, they can put maybe some pretzels or like raisins, or what else can they put inside their chocolate?
Yeah, that's a great idea. They could do some flat pretzels or crush up some pretzels or even cracker or dried fruit. You could use any dried fruit or even candy. If you have a peppermint candy in your house, you might want to chop that up in a bag or in a cutting board and sprinkle the peppermint on your chocolate.
A great idea. Someone's also saying maybe some Rice Krispies or something.
That's a good idea. You could do some cereal, some granola, if you have granola from oatmeal. Okay, so after you have your circles, which I'm actually going to finish completing a few more chocolate circles over here. You could do 2 plates of chocolate if you want to make more circles. If you want to melt more, you could, add a parchment paper to a new plate and continue creating. I'm sorry?
Amanda, I saw that, by the way.
How thick the chocolate needs to
Look in
be?
your fingers.
So really let it naturally spread on its own. So it really could be 1/4 of an inch thick or even flatter. It could be like a few centimeters thick. It really doesn't have to be so thick.
How many circles should we make?
You can I'm making 6 because that's what fits on my platter. And I'm just putting it out gently. You could make however many you want. You could make, really, you could make more after our Zoom meeting.
Will we need more chocolate for later on?
No, so this is what we're going to be using the chocolate for. So I'm going to start now with, if everyone could see this arrangement.
So we're not using chocolate anymore after this? Should we use all the chocolate we have in the container?
You could, if you have remaining chocolate and once we cut up the fruit, you can use that chocolate if you wish to dip some of your fresh fruit in.
Got it. Okay.
If you wish. I did not do it in my arrangement. I took a skewer. I want to show you the next thing I did. I took a skewer and stuck it into 2 of my chocolate lollies. So if you want to do that, you could take your skewer, place it in the top center of your chocolate. If everyone sees what I'm doing, I'm twirling the skewer till it's fully covered in chocolate. And then you're just gonna leave it there as is. I'm just teaching you how to make a lollipop. If you have a lollipop stick in your house, you could use that. But if you want to make it another time, but for purposes of our flower arrangement, we're going to be using the skewer to do this. So take your skewer, place it in the center, all the way to the top, and twirl it around until it's fully covered in chocolate, the top pointy part of the skewer. If everyone wants to see mine, I'll show you. I stuck a skewer through the whole chocolate on top of it. And I'm twirling it around till the top 2-3 inches of the skewer is covered in chocolate and staying in the center. Basically what I made here. This lollipop up here, that's what I'm showing you how to make. Does anyone have any questions regarding to making a lollipop?
Sorry, I have a question.
Yeah, sure.
We have long sticks and shorter sticks. Which one should we be using for this?
Really, it's your preference. So if you want your chocolate lollipops to be higher up in your flower arrangement, you could do it on a taller stick. If you want it to be lower down, you could do it on a shorter stick. So it's really up to you. Yeah.
You should have just a skewer and also toothpicks. The toothpicks are for something else.
Right. The toothpicks are, you're going to use your scissors to cut those up smaller for the fruit. I can show you that later. But now you're going to take your nuts and sprinkle it up with the wet chocolate.
How many, are they all lollies or are there some that are not?
I'm making 2 lollies because I just want to put 2 lollies in my arrangement. If you want to put 6 lollies in your flower arrangement, then you'll want to put 6 skewers in your chocolate in 6 different chocolate circles. If you want to choose to make 3 pieces of bite-sized chocolate and 3 skewers, you're just going to put 3 skewers in your chocolate in 3 different chocolates, 3 different circles that we melted. So it's really up to you. If you want to make them all skewer lollipops, or if you want to make them, just half of them or 2 of them. In this arrangement, I only put 1 chocolate. So it's up to you if you want them on a stick or if you want them flat as a bite-sized finger food. Okay, now you're going to take, while your chocolate's still wet, you're going to take your nuts and gently sprinkle it on top of the chocolate. You don't have to break them down further if you like them large. So you're going to gently drop them onto your chocolate, scatter it. If you could see what I did here, I just dropped them. If you could see the lolly.
Miriam, can you show everybody again how you put the skewer into the chocolate?
Yeah.
You're twirling it, right?
Yeah, so I'm taking a skewer, putting it through the highest I could where, you don't want to put it above the chocolate, but you want to put it at the top of the circle. So let me show you. I have a hardened chocolate ready. So if everyone could see this ready-made chocolate I made, this is hardened already. So if you could pretend that this is still wet and flat on your plate, you're going to take your skewer and drop it over the chocolate as high as it goes, but you don't want it to show, over your chocolate. You want it to be hidden within your chocolate. So you're going to just place it on top in the center, the highest it goes that you don't see the stick coming off the top of it. And you're just going to twirl it just to hide your stick within the chocolate lolly. Twirl it till you don't see the wooden stick within the chocolate. Does everyone understand? Basically, it's you shouldn't be able to see it at the end when we harden it. If anyone has questions, you could ask me. So you basically just place it on your chocolate circle, twirl it, and leave it there. And just leave it there because we're going to be freezing it. Okay, so if everyone's finished placing their nuts onto your wet chocolate and your dried fruit, you're gonna place it on the flat surface in your freezer that you prepared. So if you place it in your freezer, it will take only 5 minutes to harden. You could set a timer on your phone. You could leave it in for 10 minutes, nothing will happen. So you're gonna be placing into your freezer as soon as you're ready. After all your nuts, place your desired amount of nuts onto your chocolate and place it into your freezer for about 5 minutes in a flat area. If everyone could give me a thumbs up if they understand what to do with the chocolate. Okay, great. I think we explained that. And if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask. Okay, once it's in your freezer.
I have a question. Is the
Go ahead.
chocolate not going to stick to the parchment paper?
Exactly.
It will not?
Yeah. Once you freeze it and your chocolate hardens in the freezer, it's going to be so cold that it's going to be so easy to separate from your parchment paper. It's going to be so easy to separate. You're going to be, all you have to do is lift it up gently and it will come off. That's
Okay,
why I love working with chocolate.
Before you put the chocolate on the parchment paper, do you have to put oil or anything on the
No.
parchment? Nothing.
Good question. Good
It just
question.
doesn't.
It just
doesn't stick. It doesn't stick.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Because once you freeze it, the chocolate hardens and becomes its own entity. It separates so easy from the parchment paper, or foil, whatever you have on hand. And you'll see. Leave it in the freezer for 5 to 10 minutes, and we could get back to that. Okay, now if everyone's ready for the fruit, give a thumbs up. You want to start with the fruit arrangement. Okay, does everyone have their styrofoam? Their flour foam? Okay, if your flour foam is cut down to size, great. If not, you could take a sharp knife or a scissor. You're gonna take a sharp knife or a scissor and cut it to the size of your glass vase. So thumbs up if you already prepared your styrofoam. Okay, if not, you're gonna do it now. You're gonna take a
Everybody got it in their kits, actually prepared,
Okay, great. So everyone's already
measured.
Okay,
I just need to go
amazing.
to the freezer. I'm just gonna be gone for a minute. I'm gonna go to the freezer.
Sure. Yeah, Frady, you're awesome. She organized everything so well. So,
I did it with Nellie.
oh, Frady and Nellie, you're both awesome. I'm gonna take a sharp knife. I have my sample already done, but I'm just gonna prepare my one for demonstration purposes, just to do with you all. So once you have your flour foam, you're gonna place it in your vase till it's snug and fit. Then you're gonna take your ribbon. Does everyone have their beautiful brown ribbon that is actually?
So I actually measured it exactly to go around 3 times.
Oh, great.
So you can cut it, you don't have to. You could just keep wrapping it around, going upwards. And then, or you can do one and then another one and then do a middle, one in the middle.
What are we doing? Sorry.
You're taking the burlap tape and you're wrapping it around the glass vase so that it blocks the green foam. Right? We're putting the foam goes inside the vase, and then we're taking the burlap tape and we're sort of wrapping it around the vase so that it blocks the green foam.
Should go around 3 times, Alona.
It should go around 3 times.
Thank
So
you.
hopefully it's measured correctly.
Yeah, thank you, Frady and Nellie. So you're gonna be, now is where your scissor is gonna come in handy. Actually, it's already pre-measured, so you probably will not need your scissor for this part, but it is sticky on the ribbon you have is sticky ribbon. So you're gonna be peeling off the back and starting from one corner of your vase, and you could start from the top or from the bottom. You could start by placing a piece of ribbon I have this gold and white ribbon over here. You're gonna be placing your own ribbon.
So
At
they
one
actually
corner of the-
need to start from the bottom because their
Okay.
green foam only hits the bottom. It's only like, doesn't fill up the whole thing.
Okay, fine. My foam is much bigger. Fine, thank you. So start from the bottom and you're gonna, unstick it and wrap it around. You're gonna hold it from the place you started and continue unpeeling the sticky part and sticking it around till your vase is covered at the base. Does everyone understand what to do? Thumbs up if you understand. Okay, great. Okay, so now that your foam is in your vase and you have your ribbon covered, or you're almost done covering it at the base of your vase, we're going to start with peeling the fruit that we have. So I'm going to start with my honeydew. In your kit, you have grapes, blueberries, watermelon, pineapple. Is that correct? And you have
Cantaloupe.
Cantaloupe. Okay, so it's the same. It's actually the same rules to peel cantaloupe and honeydew. I could actually get my cantaloupe because I want to show you how to peel it. So everyone should have a half of a cantaloupe, and I think we're going to start off peeling that. Everyone wants to have their fruit in front of them. Kind of unpeeled half of the cantaloupe. These things. So you're going to start off with taking your cantaloupe, and I'm going to give you two options to peel it. You're either going to take your sharp knife and use your sharp knife to peel it, or you can use a peeler. So for me personally, I love to use a peeler. I find that it's the easiest. Thanks. So what you're going to start off doing with your cantaloupe is you're going to slice off the very bottom, just so you have a base to work with. So you're going to slice off as thin as possible a piece from the bottom. You see, this way my cantaloupe could stand nicely upright.
And they also have to scoop out the seeds because I left the seeds in so that it stays more fresh.
You get pineapple also? Oh, I can't find mine. It's in my fridge somewhere.
Everybody has, well, unless someone was allergic, they have pineapple, cantaloupe, and watermelon. And some people that were allergic had some extras of other things. So you know who you are if you have something different in your bag.
Like pineapple anyway.
Okay, so I'm going to show you the two ways to peel your fruit.
Is it possible to change the angle of your camera so it's facing down? Because I can't even, I'm looking at the right camera, but I can't see what you're doing so much. Oh, that's so much better.
Okay, great.
The fruit.
Yeah, at this point, I don't think you need to see my face as much as what I'm doing. You need to basically see. Okay, great. So your styrofoam should be in your glass vase and the ribbon should be wrapped around it. Okay, so we're going to start it by peeling the fruit. So there's two ways to peel it. After you scoop out your seeds, one way to peel it is by, can everyone see this cantaloupe? One way to peel it is by flipping it over to the side that you scooped out the seeds from. Oh, great. And you're gonna basically carve off take your sharp knife. You're gonna take your sharp knife and you're gonna carve down the peel from remember we cut off the base. Everyone remembers we're supposed to cut off the base at the very bottom. And you're gonna take your sharp knife, thanks, and start from the corner, and you're gonna carve down in the direction going from upward downward in the direction of the natural grain of the fruit. the natural line. So this is one way to peel your fruit. That's one way to peel your melon. The second way to peel your melon is you take your favorite peeler, and you could peel it, literally. You hold on to one side of it and you peel your fruit. So everyone can see what I'm doing. I am peeling it as if I'm peeling an apple. Just the whole thing doesn't fit in my hand in the air, so I'm doing it I'm just leaning on a cutting board, and I'm
That's
pulling the
actually
peel.
really cool. I've never done that before.
Oh, yeah. My mother did fruit for years. She did tons of fruit arrangements for people, and she told me her favorite way is to peel it with a peeler.
That's so cool.
Yeah. I think that's a great tip to know. And you probably get the most out of the fruit this way. What you might be concerned with regarding using a peeler is that you see some of the green after you peel it, and you might not want to eat that green. So all you have to do is peel it one more layer. Peel it 1 or 2 more times till you get the desired color. You could peel it, one, I don't think you need to do more than 3 times, but 1 or 2 times till you see the orange. So if you don't like to eat the green part and you want it all off, you want to be able to see your beautiful fruit, all you have to do is peel it twice over the same area to get off that green from the peel. So I'm peeling it this way. When you get to the bottom, if it gets hard for you, just flip your fruit sideways, and you could continue peeling it this way. If that's too hard for you, just take your knife, and at the very bottom, you're just going to cut the bottom part. You're just going to cut it at the bottom with your sharp knife to get the rest of the peel off. So you could do this with your watermelon next. And you could see which fruits are easier to use a peeler for than others. So at the top, I love to use the peeler like this. I just want to get my desired color. So I want to peel off that green. And you can keep turning it around, keep rotating your melon till your entire peel is off. If you have a nice sharp peeler, I think that would be the easiest for you to get the peel off. My shopping bag is moving me to get things. Okay, so when you're ready for the next fruit, we're going to continue with the watermelon after this. So now, right now we're preparing our fruit to be able to make our beautiful flowers. This is the best way to get the most out of your fruit, by peeling it this way. And if you have a hard time peeling it at the very bottom, like I said, take your sharp knife. All you have to do is chop it at the very bottom with your knife. Okay, so once you're done this, once you like how your fruit looks, you could take your watermelon, scoop out the seeds, and do the same thing. You could carve it from the top all the way down, or you could use your peeler. But you're gonna wanna, or don't forget to cut off the very bottom of the watermelon first, and then that will be your base to start carving it down. Same with your pineapple. You're gonna wanna keep cutting it down. And when you're done with your cantaloupe, continue with your watermelon. When you're done with your watermelon, continue with your pineapple. And if you're done, when you finish all your melons, you could meanwhile wash your grapes and blueberries to have them ready for our arrangements. Another thing you could do once you're done your melons is you could take your scissor and you could cut your little toothpicks down. You could cut it into 4, your toothpicks, because we're going to need the toothpicks for our arrangement. Okay, okay, so now that my cantaloupe is done, I'm gonna continue with my watermelon. So does everyone understand what to do in regard to the two ways to peel your fruit? One way is to carve it down with a knife. Another way is to use a peeler. When you get to the very bottom, it's difficult for you to use your peeler. You're going to be cutting it with a knife around the bottom. Right now, I'm going to cut my watermelon in half. Your watermelon should already be in half. Yeah.
Yeah, the peeler idea is such a great idea. Paulina is saying that it's so kid friendly. It's such a great idea to peel with a peeler.
Yeah.
It's great for kids to get involved also.
Yeah, it's such a great way. And also it's such a fun way. If your children don't, thanks for the idea, Paulina. If your children don't love eating fruits and vegetables, the cookie cutter idea to put on a popsicle stick or a skewer is such a great way to get your kids to, it's such an exciting way to get your kids to want to eat your melon or the fruit. It's so exciting when they see the different colors. It becomes so exciting. It looks like a lollipop to them.
If someone's cutting their pineapple, should they cut the core out or should they keep the core in? Probably in because they could.
Yeah, exactly. You want to keep
so everybody keep your core in so that you can use the cookie cutter and make a shape. Otherwise, you're not going to have a big enough space to make a shape.
Right, exactly. So I cut off the very bottom of my watermelon. And now I'm going to flip it over because I want to peel it. So for the watermelon, that's actually the fruit you're going to want to do with a knife because the peel is too thick to use a peeler. You're going to be here all night if you use a peeler. You know, you're going to have to do a lot of layers to get to the red, to get to the center juicy part of your watermelon. So for the watermelon, you're going to actually want to use your knife to get off your peel. And you're gonna have to apply a little more pressure at the top. But as you go down, you'll see it's gonna get smoother. So we're basically gonna carve off the peel according to, go toward the grain of your fruit. Start from the top, work your way down. And we're gonna shave off the peel of our watermelon till we see that it's mostly red. There could be a few white spots. That's totally fine. You don't have to get off every white spot on the watermelon. You just want to get off the basic, hard textured peel. So we're going to be chopping off this peel all the way to the bottom, all the way around. And if you wish to, after you're done carving off the peel, you could use your peeler to slice off the white part. If you see what I'm doing, it's just easier. And we're going to continue going around. You don't have to check on your chocolates. Don't worry till the end even.
I think some of the chocolates are already eaten by some people.
Okay, great. I hope you enjoyed it.
Some little kid monsters.
Melting stage.
You
Or
might
they may have been drunk from the melting stage. You never know.
You might want to save some of your chocolate on a skewer for your arrangement.
You know, in Russia, that's how we used to call, hot chocolate. We used to melt the chocolate and actually drink the chocolate. That was our hot chocolate.
Oh, wow, that's the way to go.
Brings back memories.
Sounds delicious.
That's so funny.
That's my style.
That's a way to stay up all night.
I think it's easier. Yeah. And this. Okay, great. So once your melons are peeled, I'm going to teach you how to slice them in a way that we could use our cookie cutter, that we could get the most out of our cookie cutter. If you are not done carving it, I could show whoever is done the next step. Everyone could just look. You're going to take your skewer we're gonna make these beautiful fruit arrangement on the skewer, basically. Does everyone see going down on my big arrangement? I did a grape, blueberry. I did alternating. So you could take your skewer and start off by preparing a few skewers. You could do 4 or 3. You're gonna take the pointy part at the very top and stick your grape, or you could even start from the bottom, the fatter part, and stick your grape all the way up. This is the easiest part. This is the easiest and most fun part. And it looks so impressive and so colorful. And it looks like you put hours into it, but really, you'll see how easy it is once you start. You're gonna stick your grape through, and then you could prepare your skewers once you're done carving, or if you want to take a break from carving, if your hand is hurting. Definitely, this is a relaxing activity. You'll feel like you're beating beads through a strand for a necklace.
I actually gave them only a few blueberries because I thought we were just doing it for the middle of the flowers. So they could either use that if they have more of their own. They have other color grapes. This is just for showing you how to make it pretty. Also,
yeah. If you want to save your blueberries to do for the center of the flowers, feel free to do that. And if you want to use your grapes for the beauty to cover your stick, just leave about 3 inches at the top pointy part, and you could slide your grapes up. That's also beautiful to do all grapes covering your skewer. It will look like a branch. It will look more like the bottom of a flower, which is what our goal is. We want to cover the wood and, get it fully covered in fruit. So
You're doing this for an event? How far in advance would you do it?
So make it for, I would probably make it that day because fruit, goes bad unless you could make it a day in advance if you cover it well in the fridge. But since you're making holes in it, as close as possible to that event, I would say. If you're keeping it in your fridge for 2 to 3 days, I would cover it well with saran wrap, but the closer to the date, the fresher it is. Good question. Okay, now we're gonna prepare 4 skewers. We're gonna start off with 4. Feel free to make more. You could slide your grapes up, but make sure to leave like a 2 to 3 inch from the point at the top. Just leave 2 to 3 inches of wood, but you could always slide it up and down. Pretty easy to slide up and down. Accommodate yourself. Okay, so we're gonna start slicing the fruit. When we're done, I guess thumbs up if you need more time for carving. I mean, thumbs up if you need more time, and I guess we'll continue doing the skewer. You need more time for carving? Okay, so continue doing what's going on with the pineapple. So once you did, I used honeydew instead of pineapple, but the same idea with carving the pineapple, and like we said, leave the center in. And so once you did the cantaloupe, the watermelon, and the pineapple, I will show you how to slice it. So we can do my favorite part, which is so much fun, which is the cookie cutters, using our cookie cutters. If you have cookie cutters at home that you want to use, like your favorite shape, or hearts or stars, feel free to use your favorite shape cookie cutters. If you don't want to do a flower, if you want to do different sizes, if you see that you're not getting so much out of your melon, feel free to use smaller cookie cutters to make smaller arrangements, smaller flower pops.
How many are we making?
Sorry?
How many are we making?
So you can make however many fits in your arrangement. I put about 4 to 5 in mine. So I would say start off with 4. I would do 4 or 5. And if you just keep in mind, we also did the lollipops out of chocolate that we are going to stick into our arrangement. So you can really do as many as you would like. So after you prepared your skewers, thumbs up if you're ready to start cutting the fruit, or thumbs, I guess if you can let me know if you need more time. You need more time for carving. I guess what motion should they give if they're not ready yet? I guess I see everyone busy, so it looks like everyone's busy over there working. So I'm going to continue doing the skewers as well with all of you. I'm going to continue covering more skewers with grapes. And
So some people were asking where to get the cookie cutters from. I'm not sure if everybody's seeing the chats, but I actually went to so many stores. I went to a few different Sobeys, a few different Walmarts and Dollarama and No Frills. I went to Michael's and Amazon, and there's another thing, a store called Sweet Art. I went to so many different, I went to, Party City Depot and Party Supply Depot and Doncaster and also Party City. I went to so many stores, and it's very hard to find flower ones, but there are some heart ones and different other cookie cutters. It was very, very hard to find them though. They were like wiped out, and I think that no one's really restocking, maybe because of COVID. But you can definitely find a few on Amazon. They're just a little bit more expensive.
Thank you for sharing.
And hopefully they'll restock soon.
Do you guys have Walmart by you and Michael's?
Yeah, I checked out Walmart. I checked it out. There was really nothing. There was nothing left.
Play-Doh cutter, by the way. Some of the Play-Doh cutter.
I looked in the Play-Doh section also because I thought maybe they would have for the Play-Doh, like when kids are cutting, they didn't have anything that was flowers. So they have trees and they have birds. You could do that also for your fruit.
Yeah, even
for the pineapple, do you have to take out the eyes of the pineapple?
No, you could keep the center in.
No, but what about the eyes?
Oh, eyes. I think you don't have to worry about that for right now, because I don't think you're going to need to take those out, because the main thing we're going to need is the center of the fruit. And I don't think you're going to need the surrounding part. Good question. You could leave.
Thank you.
I did honeydew instead of pineapple, but yeah, you could leave it. You don't have to bother, because you want to make it easier for yourself. And we basically mainly need the center of the fruit. So
as we're finished the skewers, can we just put them like in the vase and then we do it after, or we should wait?
You could do that actually. You could stick them in your vase, and once we create the flowers, you'll gently stick it through the top.
Okay, just
hold
too
on
hard
to
to
the
hold
stick,
it.
and you'll gently stick it onto it. So good question. You can either leave them on the table next to you on a plate, on the counter, or you could stick them in your vase.
And we're putting the flower fruits on the top, on the pointier part of the skewer, right?
Yeah, that's where your flower fruit is going to go on the pointy part. So you want to stick the pointy part at the top, because you're going to want to stick your floral fruit creation at the top. It's going to stay best on, and it's going to actually go the smoothest if you save the pointy part for the fruit and put the flatter end into the styrofoam. Whoever's done carving and arranging your skewer sticks can take their scissor and cut the toothpicks into four. And cut the toothpicks into four, because we're going to use those to stick the blueberries in the center of our flower. So you're going to want to cut your toothpicks into four about.
Maya, yours looks so pretty.
Stunning. So everybody, just like Maya's beautiful pineapple flowers, which are so perfect and they look delicious, you're going to take your cookie cutters. Well, before you take your cookie cutters, you're going to want to slice it. So let me show you how to slice it. We're going to start off with the watermelon. You're going to turn it sideways. This is my watermelon. I did leave some white on it. You're going to leave it sideways and cut about 1/4 to 1/2 inch thick. I think you could even do 1/2 inch thick, however thin you want. but you want it to not fall off the skewer. So I would say a 1/2 inch thick. You want to cut it from the smaller side to about a 1/2 inch thick, 3/4 of an inch to a 1/2 inch, a 1/2 inch, sorry, to 3/4 of an inch thick. So I'm starting to slice my fruit sideways. If you see, thanks. I started from the smaller side. I'm holding the bigger side. It's giving me a good grip while I get the slices out of my smaller side. I'm getting some beautiful slices out of my watermelon. So you want to do like 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch thick. So I think I have enough slices to work with for now. I'm going to put my watermelon aside. Next, I'm going to take my pineapple. I'm going to hold it sideways. I'm going to show you again. And from the smaller side, I'm going to grip my hand onto the larger side and start cutting from the smaller side. And I'm going to do about 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch thick. There's no specific rules set in stone, whatever you feel comfortable with. I like to do it about 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch thick. So now I'm doing my next slice. This fruit is a little mushier. And this one already created a ring in the center. I'll show you what to do with the remainder of fruit. If you have like excess fruit after and you're worried that it's not big enough for a cookie cutter, I'll show you how you could arrange it to look beautiful, even without a shape cut out of it. Okay, next I'm going to take my honeydew. I'm going to cut some, you hold it sideways and you're going to cut slices 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch thick. Again, you're going to hold it on the wider side and take your knife and slice it from the smaller side and start cutting using your beautiful cookie cutters shapes. You're going to start making your beautiful flowers or hearts, whatever shape you want. There's no rules. You could do stars. You could do this for July 4th. You're making a party for July 4th for your family. You could make red stars with blueberries around it. You could do blueberries on a stick with red stars on another stick. If you're making it for your child's birthday party, you could do hearts or any shape that your child likes. If you're doing it for an event, you could buy a themed cookie cutter according to the theme of your party, and cut the fruit this way and arrange it. And even if you don't want to do a shape on top, let's say you're short for time and you want to make this arrangement, you could just buy blueberries and grapes and put them on a skewer just like this, bead it on as if it was beads on a necklace string, and stick it into an arrangement. And you could do a whole arrangement just with these, and you could even stick a strawberry at the top. And you could dip your strawberry in chocolate. So your melted chocolate could come in handy with your scrap pieces. If you have a piece that's too small for your arrangement to cut a cookie cutter out of, you will just put it on a skewer. Just stick that piece on a skewer. I'll show you an example. And you could dip half of it in chocolate and it will look beautiful. You don't have to do flowers in order for it to be beautiful. So for an example, I took a piece right now, a scrap piece, and I'm going to stick it at the top of my skewer. And you could dip that in chocolate and stick it into your arrangement. When you have a few different colored fruits, just like this, it will look beautiful. So these are when you're, short for time. You take your pieces of fruit, which, could be your scrap pieces, and you stick it at the top. You could dip it in chocolate. You could leave it plain, and it will look beautiful once you have a different array of colors together, just like in our flyer for the event that you saw. You don't only have to do cookie cutters. You could do pieces of fruit at the top. You could do purple grapes and green grapes alternating. You could do green grapes and blueberries alternating. You could do strawberry at the top dipped in chocolate. You could do slices of strawberry, thick slices alternating with a grape. So use your creativity, because your creativity is endless and could get you lots of places. You could, surprise yourself with what you could create just with a few simple fruits. You could create a beautiful platter, a beautiful vase for a party. Let's say you're going to someone for a meal and you want to bring something and you want to make it homemade, but let's say you don't want to bake something. So just buy some fresh fruit and put together this arrangement for them and they'll be wowed. And it's so simple. Okay, now I'm going to cut my honeydew sideways. Again, start from the small side. Fredy, how are we with time? Am I on mute?
Sorry, hi. Yeah, we're good. I think we're going to start wrapping up soon. I would love to see everybody's creations once you're done.
Okay,
And I'd love to take a picture with everybody once you finish.
Okay, great.
So great. And I also just want to add that for those who were asking, the cookie cutters cannot be used for Shabbat, but if you want to do it for before Shabbat, that's great. But on Shabbat, you can't use the cookie cutters if you're asking me. But you can use different shapes and you can use the skewers. So if you use it with, you just, cut it with your knife, you can do that. You just can't make it a specific shape like a flower shape or a heart shape on Shabbat. Okay, sorry, Miriam, go ahead.
Sure. So once you're ready, you should have your ribbon wrapped around, you should have your foam in place, and you should have your skewers already sticking up from your arrangement. Put them wherever you wish. You're going to start arranging them according to your desired look. You're going to place your flowers that you're creating at the top that you prepared. So you see the top 3 inches we prepared. So you're going to gently and carefully take your flower. I'm using a cutting board. So once you have your beautiful slices of melon, I use this. I have a daisy flower cookie cutter right here. And I just cut a cantaloupe. So you could take your cantaloupe and stick it into your skewer very gently, because you don't want it to fall up and you want to try to get it centered. You want to try to keep it at the center. Okay, so it's on. So now you're up to the next one. And if it's sticking out a drop at the back, you could just turn it to the back and the front will be just your melon. Next, to decorate it, you're going to take your toothpick that you cut into 4 and you're going to stick it into a blueberry and then stick it into the center of your flower. So if everyone understands, let's see, people have been doing it already. And let's say you have a round piece of melon. Like, for example, this piece of watermelon. You could take a flower and you could take your you could cut a toothpick in half and stick it through the back to stay. And that would be the background of your flower. And that's a beautiful contrast. Does everyone see what a beautiful contrast that is? If you take your little toothpicks, you could stick it into the back and look at that beautiful contrast. And now you have a beautiful
so
flower.
cool.
That's another idea. And like I said, you could use your scraps. Not everything has to be a flower. You could do some circles. You could do a half a piece of melon, whatever you please. Make it how you love it. And I want to show you all what I did with the flower, what I did with a heart, or you could do it with a flower as well. If you want to make, some really fancy ones to put around your platter, it might hang to the side. So if your fruit is too heavy, just take another skewer. You see mine is hanging to the side. Take another skewer and put it behind to support it. Stick a toothpick behind it, little bit in and stick a skewer, it will hold it up. Or you could stick another skewer into it even, in the back of it. And it should hold it up. So you can remove some fruit. You could stick a skewer behind it to hold it up and into it.
Miriam,
Yeah,
I have a question.
sure.
I found that the pineapple flowers are a little harder to cut. Did you also find that?
So in this arrangement, I use honeydew instead of pineapple. But you want to use your sharpest cookie cutter for the pineapple. And you want to push it down. You want to apply all your pressure on it. So you want to stand up and push it down for the pineapple.
Okay.
As hard as you could.
Yeah,
And
that's probably what it is. It's not sharp enough.
Yeah, it could be you need like a sharper metal, and make sure you're doing it on the sharper side of your cookie cutter. And if you don't want to cut flowers out of your pineapple, just slice it in half or into a triangle shape, and stick it on, or dip it in chocolate and stick it on. You could. There's so many different ideas to do it. Now at this point, once you have a few flowers going on your arrangement, you could go to your freezer and take out your beautiful chocolate bark that we made, your melted chocolate with your nuts, and we could stick that into the arrangement. You're going to see how it adds such a delicious touch and a delicious look to your arrangement. And I want to show you what I did with the heart. So if everyone is able to go to their freezer, I want to show you how easily your chocolate will come off of your parchment paper.
Let's see.
So right now my tray is so freezing cold. It's freezing cold, and all you do is lift up the chocolate. There's no peeling involved. No peeling. If you never worked with chocolate before, this should shock you. I just lifted it up. Ready to eat. If you want to package these in a little cellophane bag or in a beautiful platter for someone, for your good friend, and you wrap it up, it's so impressive, and especially if you tell them you made it yourself. It looks like it's from a high-class chocolate store. You'll be creating your own.
Beautiful. So cool.
So now I'm going to stick my chocolate into my arrangement. Feel free to do that as well.
Yeah, and every Shabbat I'll give the kids a little bit of a Shabbos party, a Shabbat party. So this is a great thing to do also for them, to have like little chocolate pops for them. They can feel like it's their little fruit pops.
Yeah, great idea. And you can even buy lollipop sticks if you're worried to give your kids a skewer. Just buy on Amazon, or any local craft store should sell lollipop sticks. And this should work as well. Twirl the lollipop stick in your tablespoon of chocolate, and leave it flat to dry, and it should come up nicely when you lift it up.
Yeah.
Or if you want your children to just make chocolate, handcrafted chocolate finger arrangements, finger food, beautiful circles, they could just, put it on a tablespoonful or teaspoonful onto a platter, freeze it, and they'll be so excited to eat it. It is a little more exciting than a lollipop. Personally, I think so. And I just want to tell you that now that you know how to melt chocolate, if you want to buy from any chocolate store or from Amazon, chocolate molds, anyone can work with chocolate molds. If you want to buy star shapes or happy birthday or hearts, all you have to do is melt the chocolate just how I showed you, buy lollipop sticks, stick it into the melted chocolate, fill your mold with chocolates, put your lollipop stick in, put it into the freezer. 5 to 10 minutes later, those lollies, when you flip them over, they'll pop right out. If not, you gently lift up the stick, and you'll be amazed at the lollies you created. Chocolate lollies can be made by anyone, and I just think not everyone knew how easy it was. So now you know how easy it is to melt chocolate and to do chocolate molds and chocolate arrangements. All you have to do is buy chocolate molds or lollipop molds and lollipop sticks, melt your chocolate, place it in the mold, and put your lollipop stick in, twirl it around, put it in your freezer for 5 to 10 minutes, and you'll be you'll have created the most beautiful chocolate lollipops. And
Awesome.
yeah,
Can we,
it's-
everybody, can we take a picture of everybody's smile or show? I want to take a screenshot.
You need to go get the chocolates.
Brady, we haven't done the decoration yet.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so quickly, let's go. Let's get moving.
Can we just jump this in? I'm busy eating.
Oh, the leaves, Miriam,
I'm not finished
I
yet.
gave everybody these two, Amanda, you want to show it to Miriam, what I gave everybody?
This looks like it's
Those
good for
two
a
of
fish
them.
cake or a fruit bowl.
Oh, okay, great. So you want to stick your leaves in. Thanks for showing me. You want to take your leaves and fill in the openings, like the empty spaces between your fruit. And you want to fill those empty spaces with the leaves as a filler to put more realistic life into your arrangement. So once you add those leaves, it will be wow. You'll be like, oh my gosh, is this real or fake? What can I eat here? Is this edible? Can I eat the leaves? You'll just wow your family. They'll be amazed. So stick your leaves in wherever you like, and it'll be a beautiful filler. I have these leaves I chose, and they're perfect for Tu B'Shvat, for a Tu B'Shvat themed platter. And your leaves will just complete the look and add more
Beautiful.
realistic touch. And make sure to add your chocolate to it. And feel free to put fruit down your chocolate stick. I chose not to, but you could definitely add fruit down your chocolate stick with extra fruit. And feel free to send pictures of your beautiful arrangements to Free or Nellie. And I'm sure they'd love to see your individual arrangements, since it's hard to see everyone's on Zoom at once. I'm sure they'd love to
Love
see it
it.
or share it with me. And
We also gave a card that has the different brachot, the different blessings that you say on different foods. So feel free to put that on your fridge or on a, in your kitchen. It's a great way to get the kids to just be grateful for what we have and just to really enjoy just watching you eat is like so exciting for me. My sister always makes fun of me like, oh my gosh, you love feeding people. I really love feeding people, and I love watching all of you like licking your fingers and eating the fruit while you're doing it. Like, you make one, you eat one, you make one, you eat one. And it's so nice to see all that. And
Brady eats vicariously.
I make
Brady
one,
eats
eat two.
vicariously through the others, as I can
Exactly.
attest from Israel.
So the blessing card is there also for you to introduce it to your children, just to bring awareness that we don't just eat, we bless, we thank Hashem, we thank God for the delicious fruit that we have. Look how many colors God made for us. It's beautiful. Jody, let me see yours.
wow, they're all so beautiful. I love how Tali Cone. I love how you put 3 flowers in a row. I see some, yeah, thank you for holding it up, everyone. Beautiful. Tali Cone. She put a beautiful green, red, and orange flower all on top of each other with grapes in between. That's so beautiful. And I love, it's so beautiful with the chocolate. I can't even tell you. Wow. It looks amazing. I just want to grab it out.
Cool.
Thank you.
Sure. I want to show you one more thing I did. I used a heart cookie cutter to make with a red heart out of my watermelon. And then I took my cut up toothpicks and I stuck a blueberry around the heart. Could everyone see? I stuck a blueberry around the heart, and then I did grapes and blueberries on bottom. And I think it's beautiful to do, different shapes. This is a heart arrangement with blueberries around it. So that's just another idea you could do for your arrangement. And I'm sure
Wow, it looks amazing.
Or your friends or relatives, anyone around you, I'm sure, or your coworkers, I'm sure they'd love to enjoy delicious, beautiful fruit arrangements. If you ever want to surprise
so much
your coworkers one day.
Thank you so much, Miriam. Thank you so much for giving us this tutorial. This is amazing, and I'm so excited to see everybody's. Can't wait to see it, for you to all enjoy it and to eat it with your family. I can't wait to get together again. please check out our Instagram page, our Facebook page, our website, thwshul.com, Thornhill with Shul on Facebook, also Thornhill with Shul on Instagram to see any other programs we're doing. We have a teen program coming up this week and next week. We have bingo night for kids. We have a baking thing going on for the teens. So join us, please. And private message me if you have any questions. Private message Nelly if you have any questions. Thank you all so much. I just want to take a picture of everybody. Can everybody smile with their flower arrangement, whatever they have so far? Ready? 1, 2, 3. Smile. Okay. Thank you so much. Have a great night and a happy Rosh Chodesh. Don't forget Rosh Chodesh. The beginning of the first of every month is a women's holiday.
It was amazing. Thank you for everything, Alicia. It's beautiful. Like really, thank you for this activity. Much appreciated.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It was so nice to meet you.
Lisa, there's more coming up next month and following. So
Thank
please.
You're a wonderful teacher, wonderful teacher.
Thank you so much. If anyone has any questions, feel free to give my email or phone number to any of the wonderful woman that joined tonight. And I'd love to answer any questions about melting chocolate, about the fruit arrangement. I'd love to answer their questions.
Thank you so much. It was really, really great, Miriam.
Thank
All the way from Cincinnati. See what the internet can do?
Yes,
This is awesome.
amazing, amazing.
That's the positive part.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good
Tonight.
night.
Okay, be safe, everybody.
I'll go last.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Good
Have a good night.
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 Enjoy, everybody.
Enjoy your delicious fruits and your lollipops.